The funeral of Jake Hall became one of the most talked-about memorial events in recent memory, not only because of the emotional atmosphere inside the service, but because of the extraordinary guest list that quickly sparked widespread reactions online. What was intended to be a private farewell for close family and friends turned into a gathering that revealed just how far-reaching and complex his life had been. The service for Jake Hall was held at a private chapel location that had been carefully prepared for a controlled and respectful ceremony. From early morning, vehicles began arriving quietly, carrying family members, longtime friends, business partners, and individuals connected to different phases of his life. The tone outside the venue remained calm and respectful, but it was immediately clear that this was not an ordinary funeral. The variety of guests arriving hinted at a network of relationships that extended far beyond what the public had previously understood. As more attendees arrived, observers began noticing something unusual. People from very different backgrounds were present in the same space, some who had not been seen together in years, and others who were known to have had distant or complicated histories. Yet inside the venue, there was no conflict or tension. Instead, there was quiet acknowledgement, shared grief, and a mutual understanding that the day was about respect rather than past differences. Inside the chapel, the atmosphere was deeply emotional. Family members were the first to speak, sharing intimate stories about Jake Hall's early life, his personality, and the values that shaped him. They described him as someone who could be both fiercely determined and unexpectedly compassionate. He was remembered as a person who built strong bonds with those close to him, even if his life journey sometimes placed him in difficult or public situations. As the ceremony continued, close friends and associates began to share their own memories. Some spoke about his ambition and drive, while others focused on quieter moments, private conversations, acts of loyalty, and gestures of support that were not widely known. These stories gradually painted a more layered picture of his life, one that extended beyond public perception and speculation. What truly shocked many observers, however, was the composition of the guest list itself. Reports and early social media posts suggested that attendees came from multiple professional circles, including entertainment, business, and local community leadership. While not all names were officially confirmed, the presence of so many diverse individuals led to intense online discussion. People attempted to piece together connections, trying to understand how Jake Hall had built relationships across such different worlds. Outside the chapel, conversations quickly shifted toward speculation. Videos and images circulated online showing arrivals throughout the day, and users began identifying familiar faces among the crowd. This created a wave of curiosity, with many viewers expressing surprise at the scale and diversity of the turnout. Some described it as a reflection of influence, while others felt it showed how personal relationships can exist outside of public perception. Despite the online attention, those inside the service repeatedly emphasized that the focus remained on remembrance, not speculation. Family members requested privacy and respect, reminding guests that the day was about honoring a life, not analyzing it. Many attendees later echoed this sentiment, explaining that the emotional weight of the service made outside commentary feel distant and secondary. The most powerful moments of the ceremony came during personal tributes. One family member spoke about forgiveness and healing, urging attendees to remember Jake Hall not through isolated events or public narratives, but through the relationships he built and the lives he touched. Another speaker reflected on his resilience, describing how he continued to support those around him even during difficult periods of his life. As these speeches unfolded, the emotional atmosphere in the chapel became increasingly heavy. Several attendees were visibly moved, and moments of silence followed each tribute. Music played softly in the background, adding to the reflective tone of the service. Rather than focusing on formality, the ceremony emphasized personal connection and shared memory. Outside the venue, security ensured that proceedings remained orderly. While the presence of well-known individuals attracted attention, there were no disruptions. Guests were allowed to enter and exit with privacy, and the family's request for a respectful environment was largely honored. The steady flow of arrivals and departures continued throughout the day, with many guests choosing to stay after the service to speak quietly with one another. As the ceremony came to a close, the final tribute focused on unity and gratitude. The message emphasized that despite differences in background, profession, or past relationships, everyone present had been connected through their shared experience with Jake Hall. This sentiment resonated strongly with attendees, many of whom described the closing moments as both painful and meaningful. After the service ended, guests slowly exited the chapel, with many lingering outside in small groups. Some embraced, others stood in silence, and a few exchanged quiet conversations about their memories. The emotional weight of the day was still present, even as the public attention surrounding the guest list continued to grow online. In the hours that followed, social media discussion intensified. Users debated the significance of the guest list, with some interpreting it as a reflection of influence, and others cautioning against reading too deeply into public appearances during a time of grief. Despite the speculation, most agreed that the scale of attendance indicated that Jake Hall had impacted a wide and varied group of people. Ultimately, the funeral became more than just a private farewell. It turned into a moment of public reflection about how lives intersect in unexpected ways. While the guest list drew headlines and online reactions, those who attended emphasized a simpler truth. The day was about remembering a person, not analyzing his connections. As the final guests left and the chapel grew quiet, what remained was not the speculation or the shock, but the shared sense of loss. The funeral of Jake Hall, despite all the attention surrounding it, ultimately returned to what funerals are meant to be: a space for remembrance, respect, and the quiet acknowledgement of a life that mattered to many in different ways.